know what you're thinking, and no, actually this is not for my kid. I don't actually have one, but 2 of my friends this year have kids. This year is the year of the dragon, and normally in Vietnamese culture, grandparents and parents love having dragon kids and dragon grandkids because they believe that the child will prosper like a rising dragon. So my mom wanted to make a custom baby mobile to give to my friends' kids. The theme for this baby mobile is sky up here in the first tier and sea down here in the second tier. My mom spent about 2 weeks crocheting these individual pieces, and she has tasked me with putting them all together, inserting the strings and the beads, putting it onto this hanging arm contraption right over here. For the sake of time and filming this video, I've already built out this baby mobile last night, but we do have a second set waiting for us right over there for a second baby. So without further ado, let's get started. My mom had ordered a lot of these individual pieces beforehand. First, we have this arm that you're going to attach to your crib. And then we also have this set of spoken wheel that you're going to attach all your crochet amigurumi to. All the links will be in the description below. My mom also bought this music box, and it has a hook that spins. So hopefully our whole contraption will spin as well. Okay, so let's actually set up the frame first so that I can show you guys the vision of this baby mobile. This whole process was pretty straightforward, and I'd say the only thing to keep in mind would be to place this wooden panel in a way that it separates your screw from your furniture. As for the crochet pieces themselves, my mom got inspiration first from this video and this pattern. For the first tier, our theme is sky, and we have a rainbow, a cloud, a star, a croissant, a moon, a sun, and a water droplet. The theme for the second tier is sea. First up, we have Mr. Jellyfish, starfish, a seahorse, a whale, a stingray, and a beluga whale, but in my opinion, it looks more like a sea lion. I mixed them around and decided on which pairs I liked, and then I kind of like shift some up and shift some down so that there will be some more visual contrast in the final product. I decided that I wanted a uniform 23 stitches between your 2 tiers. And how did I come to that number, you may ask? I used my spidey senses. For this project, what you're going to need is yarn, a hook, beads, needles, a stitch marker, a snipper, and a tape measure. Because the beads I'm using for this project are pretty small, the only way I can get them onto my chain is to actually cut the yarn beforehand and have an open end to put the beads through. That means that we're going to have to predetermine the length of yarn that we need for each part that we're crocheting. So I decided to take some measurements beforehand, and here I am crocheting 10 chains, and when I measure it, it comes out to about 4 centimeters. And I want to know how long the full piece of yarn is, and this one comes out to about 20 centimeters. So our ratio that we have is for every 10 centimeters of yarn, we get 10 stitches. That comes to about 4 centimeters of a chain. Because I've already decided that I wanted 23 chains between my 2 pieces, with our ratio before, we know that 23 times 2 is roughly 46 centimeters. Here I'm taking 50 just for good measure, and then adding an extra 10 centimeters for leeway, for the beginning and the ends. Next, I'm going to determine the center of gravity of my piece. It's a little bit of a game. I got this one wrong a couple of times, but yeah, essentially once you determine where it is, you just want to make a slip knot, pull it through, make a slip stitch, and then do however many chains that you want. Once you've reached the point where you want to insert a bead, pull the yarn through to secure, and then get your bead onto the yarn. Here I need a needle. After your bead is on your yarn, you just want to make another slip knot. Try to get it as close as possible to the bead if you can, and if not, it's not that big of a deal either, so don't fret it. And then just continue crocheting your remaining chains as normal. To attach your two pieces together, just find the center of gravity of the second piece, make a slip stitch, chain one, and fasten off. To hide the end bits, there are actually two ways to go about it. First is to use your hook, push it into your piece, have the head poke out of where your yarn is, and then pull it right through. Once you snip it off, there should be no traces of yarn left. The second way to do it is to use a needle. You want to poke the needle through the hole where the yarn emerged, thread your yarn through, pull it out, snip it, and you should be good. Definitely a good game to determine my judgment on center of gravity. And last but not least, rainbow jellyfish combo. Let's move on to the second tier. So the second tier will be a little bit more complicated than this bottom tier right here, but don't worry, I'll show you exactly what to do. So besides having varying lengths, I'm also adding on two of these loops so that I can hook it onto the pole so it can distribute the weight evenly between these two loops. Each of these loops are chain 12, so chain 12, that's a total of chain 24. And if we do the math, chain 24 probably comes out to around 50 centimeters. So whatever length this will be, I will add on an extra 50 centimeters. For instance, I want to recreate exactly this. This is about 7 centimeters, and we know that to get the full length of the string, it is 5 times, at least for me, it is 5 times this section right here. So 7 times 5 is 35 centimeters. And then I will add on 50 centimeters for the two loops. 3 or 5. 50 for the two loops, and you carry on as normal. I have reached my desired length, and now we're going to go ahead and create these two loops that will go over the pole. To make it, what you want to do is kind of mark where you stopped. You can mark with your finger, or sometimes what I do is I take a needle, or you can take a stitch marker, and then make chain 12. Once you've got your chain 12, you're going to insert it back into chain 1 and slip stitch into the one on top of my marker, right here. Slip stitch. And then the second loop will be exactly the same. I do another chain 12, and then I will slip stitch it back into the start of this new chain 12. And then to tie it all off, I will do a chain 1 and pull to secure. And now you have your two loops. To hide the string is a little bit more tricky. I haven't quite figured out the best way to do it. So I don't know if this is redundant, but what I'm gonna do is tie an extra knot right here in the last stitch, or you can tie it wherever, honestly. And then I will somehow try to push it back into the middle here. And then cut it off here. And there you have it, your two loops. Okay, so we have our cloud. Now, let's see how far down we'd like it to go. This kind of looks good to me. Actually, no, a little higher. So I will pinch it right here. And we know that we need 5 of this to actually get the stitch length that we want. 2, that's 3, 4, 5. So that's all that we need for that part. And I know that the length from my ankle to my knee is 50 centimeters. Yes, this is an exact measurement. This is how it's looking. I actually am left with this much yarn, which is kind of exactly that actually. So maybe all I need is ×4 this for the yarn instead of ×5. And then you will do the same for the remaining 4. I think this one I want to be in line with the moon. That was chain 15, so I will do chain 15 for this one as well. Got one more to go. Last one. Okay, let's turn on the music to see this baby mobile in its full glory. Damn, didn't know this baby mobile played Richard Clayderman? Okay, so this is the finished product. We have 2 baby mobiles, one for a baby dragon baby boy, one for a baby dragon boy, and one for a baby dragon girl. So I really hope that the kids and their parents will enjoy this little project. I personally really enjoyed making this, at least like the finishing touches to it, mainly because my mom tasked me with a problem, which is to build it out, kind of make it look cohesive as one unit. I know that for some people, they can just sit down and create art just for the sake of art, but for me, that just doesn't come really naturally. Yeah, I feel much more intrigued and stimulated to take on a project if there is a problem at hand and I need to solve it. And when you solve it in a creative way, I guess that's what you would call design. So I guess I like design. It is my final takeaway for this video. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will have to take these guys down again to pack them, to send them off as like an early Christmas gift for these little kids. You guys have a great week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.